Have you been struggling with Chinese pronunciation or tones? I sound unnatural in Chinese and sometimes people don't understand and misunderstand me. People speak too fast in Chinese, but if it's in written words, I can understand. I can't read Chinese characters. Are they difficult to learn? Do I have to learn them? How? Hello everyone, I'm Ling. Welcome to my channel, Chinese Lorange. If you are passionate about learning Chinese, you are in the right place. Today marks a special day as I share my first long video on YouTube. Your support means the world to me, so if you like this video, please give me a like and feel free to share any thoughts in the comments. I'll try my best to read all of it. Today, I've prepared 5 things that you need to do to improve your Chinese. I know the idea of practice daily might sound a bit intimidating, but trust me, it's all about finding joy in small victories and making learning a delightful part of your everyday life. I'm not talking about overwhelming 3 hours study sessions. Our goal is to find that sweet spot, a comfortable duration that keeps you energized and engaged. I know mastering a language like Chinese can be challenging, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Let me know if that's how you feel. Each of you has a unique learning path. There's no need to stress or compare your learning progress with others. Patience is key. I have been there while learning English and Spanish, so I understand. So why don't we make this process enjoyable and something that we'll look forward to every day? Remember, consistency is the key. Alright, let's get straight into it. The first question we're going to talk about is, have you been struggling with Chinese pronunciation or tones? If you're nodding right now, don't worry, you're not alone. Our first step is quite straightforward yet effective. Reading out loud. It's as simple as it sounds and requires minimal time. Just dedicating 5 to 10 minutes a day to this practice can make a significant difference. It's all about training the muscles in your mouth, which need time to develop, just like any other muscle. I know that silent reading is a common habit, but when we speak, it's our mouths that do the work, not just our minds. Studies have found that after 3 hours of reading material, you can remember around 70% of it. What if just listening, maybe around 60% of it? If you combine reading and listening at the same time, you can remember up to 90% of what you've just learned. So what should you do? Start by finding a short text. It's important to keep it brief as we are concentrating the pronunciation and the speaking skills. Ensure you're pronouncing each word and tone correctly. If you're uncertain about any pronunciation, there's loads of free resources online that you can find. If you have more time, recording yourself can be extremely beneficial. Do this weekly and listen to your recordings, identify any mistakes that you have made, and don't forget to track your progress. Right, let's move on to another common question that many of you have shared. I sound unnatural in Chinese and sometimes people don't understand and misunderstand me. The second key step is to write just 1 sentence every day. That's it, just write 1 sentence or a couple of thoughts. Writing is a powerful tool to reinforce the new words or new sentence structures that you've learned. The reason we might sound unnatural in Chinese is that it's more than just learning vocabulary, grammar, or pronunciation. There's a bigger picture involved. When we translate sentences word for word, it can lead to misunderstandings. This approach might work for simple phrases or when 2 languages share similar structures or cultural terms. But literal translation doesn't always cut it. For instance, take English phrase, what's wrong? How would you say it in Chinese? In Chinese, what is 什么?什么? Wrong is 错,错. If we simply put them together, it'll be 什么错? But it doesn't make any sense. Instead, we would say 怎么了? 怎么了? So direct translation often doesn't work. Here's what you should practice. Think of a sentence or an expression that you would like to say, and try to figure out how a native speaker would say it. This approach helps you grasp not only the language, but also the cultural nuances behind it. Remember, it's about thinking and expressing in Chinese, not translating. Keep practicing and you'll start sounding more natural. Now, let's address the third common question. People speak too fast in Chinese, but if it's in written words, I can understand. If you ever felt like this, my suggestion is to immerse yourself in Chinese media. Find a TV show that you like or some Chinese YouTubers, aim to watch for at least 10 minutes a day. It's not just about listening, it's really about getting your ears used to how the language sounds when it's actually spoken. When people speak quickly, their speech patterns change, especially in Chinese. People often blend syllables or words together. And also, there are tone-changing rules that are easier to pick up in spoken language. Take the phrase 我想你. Have you noticed something that I changed when I said it? If you look carefully of these three characters, 我想你, they are all pronounced in the third tone. However, when native speakers pronounce this sentence, we often change the second character, 想, into the second tone. Instead of saying 我想你, we pronounce it like 我想你. This subtle change is part of what makes spoken Chinese flow more naturally, and is something that you'll start to pick up as you listen and practice more. There are plenty of options online. Shows like 欢乐颂 or 爱情公寓 or a more recent one, 去有风的地方 are great to start with. It's a fun and effective way to improve your listening skills and get comfortable with the natural pace of the language. Next, let's talk about expanding your Chinese skills with characters. This approach naturally leads us to some common questions that we have about characters. I can't read Chinese characters. Are they difficult to learn? Do I have to learn them? How? Well, they can be challenging, yes, but they are also fascinating and deeply meaningful. If you want to fully understand the language, then unfortunately, yes, because the phonetic sounds don't convey the full meaning like the characters do. Take the syllable 半 as our example. 半 would be meaningless without characters. Look at these characters. The first one, 半, means half. The second one, 半, means partner. The third one, 半, means mix. Interesting, isn't it? However, it's still worth noting that there are successful Chinese learners who speak Chinese fluently without knowing a large number of characters. I'm not saying that you should skip learning Chinese characters, but I think it's important to know that what your goals are. If your goal is basic conversational skills, then prioritizing speaking can be faster and more efficient. However, advancing to a higher level without a solid understanding of Chinese characters can still be challenging. My suggestion of learning them is to pick 1 or 2 characters every day and try to focus on remembering them. There are several ways to do it. You can write them down on a paper, use your tablet or application that helps you to remember them, or simply just look at them for many times. Whatever works best for you. It's really important not to overwhelm yourself. Remember, consistency is far more important than quantity. Now, let's use some time to talk about numbers. The Standard National Dictionary contains about 50,000 Chinese characters, with some dictionary listing up to 80,000 characters. But don't let the number scare you, because most of these characters are rarely used in everyday life. In fact, Being familiar with 2,000 characters is enough for basic literacy, and knowing about 3,500 characters covers nearly 99.5% of modern Chinese writing, while a university-educated person typically knows around 8,000 Chinese characters. For beginners, we can start with the most commonly used Chinese characters, which are around 500. This doesn't sound too intimidating, does it? By learning these 500 characters, you'll build a solid foundation for your vocabulary. And here's an encouraged thought. If you learn 2 characters a day, you can master these essential characters in less than a year. Well, I personally love writing. If you have more time, please give it a try. You might find a new passion in these intricate and fascinating Chinese characters like I do. The last piece of advice is to always remember your motivation. There will be days of incredible progress and days when it feels like you're not moving forward at all. In these moments, remember why you started. Are you planning to study abroad? Is it for work or business? For communicating better with friends, your partner, or family members? Is it because you are interested in history, art, or culture? For travel purposes? Or just as a hobby? If you like, leave a comment and share your motivation with me. Believe in yourself, stay consistent, and soon you'll look back in amazement at how far you've come. You can do it! Well, that's all for today's lesson, and there's homework. Leave a comment and share your motivation and a sentence in Chinese that you've learned today. And for more updates and insights, connect with me on my social medias. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I'll see you in our next lesson. Happy learning! 加油！下次见！